When I was a kid, I hid my heart under the bed because my mother said if you're not careful, someday someone's gonna break it. Take it from me, under the bed is not a good hiding spot. I know because I've been shot down so many times, I get altitude sickness just from standing up for myself.
And I'll never get to meet the man inside me if I can't stand still long enough to be there. I'll never make it anywhere if I keep running away. I'll never know myself if all I ever do is play Nicky Nicky Nine Doors, don't want to be a man.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a man. I wanted to register a retirement savings plan that keep me and Candy long enough to make old age sweet. I wanted two left feet so I could dance circles around important issues until way past my bedtime. I'm not saying I don't have opinions, just that others were less likely to argue if they weren't as tired as I was.
When I was a kid, I slid love letters through the slots of lockers that belonged to my secret crushes, built paintbrushes from the tiny hairs that stood on end every time I saw them. My brainstem finally blooming with thoughts, I connected dots and made masterpieces, each brush stroke a thesis dedicated to the explanation that you, not knowing who I was only because anonymity made it easier to be brave. I dipped my brush into a tidal wave I hoped that would one day wash over me. I can guarantee, if you've ever had a secret admirer, it was someone very much like me who loved someone very much like you. It was someone who wanted to tell you how much you meant, how every second we spent thinking of you was simply the cost of getting us through the hard times. We saved nickels and dimes, hoping our first date would be with you. So with the disappointment of love, we gave up comic books and video games. I promise you, every guy I've ever met remembers the names of the ones they loved first. Then our thirst for the love continues, as we cross the deserts of maybe, believing that we will find an oasis of yes. Acquiesce. Yes. We probably should have just said something, but we were chicken shit. We let the fuses of our hearts explode every time you walked on by. When I was a kid, I trusted myself enough to know that one day I'd be a man. One day I would have a childhood for a past and a future for a backup plan. That every gauntlet I've ever ran was a potato sack race, in which time would chase me further towards an ending. I am bending myself back to the beginning, reminding myself there's no winning any race against yourself. Slow down. And when the kid in you falls, turn around, pick them up, dust them off, then continue. Trust me, you're going to need that kid. You're going to need someone to remind you that every weed is a flower, just trying to make shit work. That every jerk you ever encounter is just another someone who somehow forgot that it's okay to need a hug. It's okay to be afraid.
When I was a kid, I played hopscotch with the lines they drew in the sand, landed on the conclusion that second-hand clothes at least to the benefit of experience, and I've got 137 hand heart broken apart and stitched back together at the seams. I've cartwheeled across balance beams, made from the broken finger bones of people who could not let go of this life. I still love the night. I love the fact that if you squint your eyes just right, stars look like porcupines of light, stumbling across the dark, dipping their quills into the night, trying to write apologies for all the unanswered wishes from the times we were once wished upon them. Sometimes I still wish, and most times I wish I didn't have to. I wish I didn't have to wish.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I hope I never forget that kid who grew up inside me. He just seemed to laugh a little bit louder, smile just a little bit longer, loved a whole lot stronger. World's first awesome monger, taking awesome from door to door. Take as much as you need. Don't worry about me. I've got more. I've got a candy store filled with whatever it's going to take to make tomorrow sweet. I've got 2 left feet and no bedtime. I'm still not brave enough to have an orgy, but I rock the slumber party. Come nap with me. First one to fall asleep loses. First one to fall asleep wins.
The race stops at the start and the finish line is where it begins, so this time, first one to lose wins. I know we never meant to turn our hearts to garbage bins. It was an accident. I know the headlines of us giving up were a misprint and really just bad reporting. I know we've been boarding up the windows from the outside in. We've been doing it ever since they told us to start letting things go. And I know we got into the habit of throwing everything away. But your heart is a door knock, and every time it beats, It's just the kids' way of asking, "Can you please come out and play?"